Go.
Hey, welcome to the Vibe Show. I've got the amazing Natalie Bondine with me. Of course, we've got the lovely Kelly Bowen as well. Say hi, Kelly.
Hey.
This amazing woman, I met Natalie about 10 years ago in a business that she ran, which is a colonic business. So she was like deep into helping people heal. And she shifted a few years ago into becoming a sex and relationship coach, tantric teacher, and what did you say?
Ancient Taoist practices.
Ancient Taoist practice. This woman is phenomenal. Now, she really helps people connect to the most amazing energy to create with, to be able to have an extraordinary life with, to heal and let go of stuff that holds you back, and to really catapult you into living an extraordinary life in your business, in your love life, in your health, in any area of life, really like just propelling you into that amazing place. So we're sharing her with you because so excited about this. We're actually going to get her to talk about sex magic with you, how to use sexual energy to create magic in your life. And just to keep you in suspense, we're first going to ask a couple of questions. So hold on to it. You're going to get the answers soon. Welcome, beautiful lady.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here with you both today.
Yeah. So now I'd love to know, tell me a little bit about like what really inspired you to create this business.
Well, I guess I was called into different directions. I think when you're starting any business, you're following the lead of your dream, but you also know that you're being played by something larger. So I guess you could say that although this is my personal desire to find intimacy with myself and therefore teach others to find true intimacy, there is something larger at play. And so I guess that I'm just being led to stand in the spot to teach this, to bring it to a larger audience, if you like. And so my teachings are around bringing Tantra or ancient Taoist teachings to the West, so bringing a really grounded approach to sexuality, because it's kind of one of those last taboo subjects when we're talking about sex and we're talking about money. We're talking about things that we really don't want to go there with. So I'm here to kind of make it a practical, grounded, inspirational, how do we do it in our bodies, wisdom, and share it with women, we share it with men, share it with couples, and how it transforms all areas of our life, not just our business, but the way we run our families, the way we have relationships, and the way we earn money.
Yeah, I love
wow,
that.
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I really like the way that you do it too. Like I have been to one of your workshops, and I must say that of all the people that I've seen teaching sexuality and bringing sexuality from out of the shadows and into the light, you're by far the most grounded, integrated person that I've seen do it. And you do it with so much elegance and so much grace, and it's so nice seeing these subjects that we were so taboo about and we've been told to shame ourselves about, to go, hang on a minute, let's really bring that into our everyday life, because we're here just as many places within our body that we have sites to receive pain. There's even that much more to receive pleasure. And why are we choosing to experience pain in life when we've got all these beautiful ways to experience pleasure? And I really I think it was something that you said in regards to Tantra. It's about bringing pleasure to the little everyday mundane things to bring it all to life. And it's so exciting that you're doing this. And tell me, and because we sort of touched on it a little bit, can you tell me a little bit more about like what sex magic is and how we sort of tie it all together?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially we're creating a resonant field. So we're using the potential of orgasm. And I'm not just talking about orgasm in the realms of like the sexual act, but orgasmic energy, which is like the cosmic or universal energy. How do we create that field? And then when we operate from that field, we can create from that. So it's about utilizing that energy, running that through our body, and then using that for our intentional conjuring or calling in what you want essentially in our daily lives. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love it. And have you what have been some of, like, since you've really been tapping into this sort of energy and using it and cultivating and bringing it into the way that you do business, have there been some really big shifts that you've noticed that have been really memorable?
Yeah, so I think the things that I would say there when we're working with sexual energy is we're operating from part of our body or part of our system that has been kind of disconnected for many of us for so long. A lot of us, particularly heart-based business, would operate from this part of our body or would think our way through, yeah? So we, you know, in our heads, disconnected from our body, and yet there was a part of us that is missing. So this is about integrating all parts of the brain. So it's integrating our primal brain, which is the sexual, it's our fight or flight mechanism, it's how we show up in the world, it's what we look like physically, but also coming from heart. So how do we build that intimacy? How do we build that intimacy with ourselves? And then how do we build intimacy with another, which creates a field that we can create in together? So how do we co-create? And then how do we use our mind? Like how do we direct energy? So it's how do we direct all of this energy through our body to call in what we want? Yeah, important.
I love it. You actually touched on one of my favorite subjects, talking about the primal brain. Like this part of us, like for when it comes to making big decisions, and often as we do in business, we are making these big decisions. And when that primal part of our brain gets triggered and it's not on board with us, gosh, it can create chaos. And I love that this is a way to really integrate into that third brain. Like you said, we've got the brain, our thinking part. We've got our heart brain, which is our feeling and our intuition. And then actually guts, the intuition. But this is where we bring this in and we can get all three aligned together. And it's where, like you said, magic happens. Whoopsie, throwing water around. But magic happens. Like things appear that just weren't otherwise possible. And I really like it's another way to get all three of them online and talking to each other.
I love that. Yeah, so it's certainly about integration. So we're making everything available to us. So we're not making anything unseen. We're bringing all the unseen to the surface so we can utilize all our superpowers essentially.
Yeah.
So body, mind, and spirit.
That's amazing. Love it.
What's around sex magic, right? So in really tuning into this energy of sex, how would you describe the energy of sex? What is it? Like, do people have to get all horny and create from that place? How would you actually de-jargon sex magic for our awesome viewers and listeners so they understand what it is and what's a simple way they could actually start engaging and connecting to it and using it consciously to create with?
So I think the first thing to say would be that sex energy drives everything in the world. It's the way a flower blossoms. It's the way we produce children, obviously. It's the way we birth ideas into the world. So that's all sexual energy. So when we're talking about sexual energy, we're not specifically talking about the sexual act. So I think we want to break down the differences between it's not about, the fucking. It's about how do we drive this energy through our body to create, yeah? So yes, we're working with second chakra, first chakra, second chakra energy, but it's where we drive that energy, what we do with it. So it's not about having a bigger or better orgasm. Super, it's wonderful to have that. But
Who doesn't want that?
Orgasm, how do we use that orgasmic energy? So what is the intention, or where do we drive that energy, and what do we create from that? So it's not about having a stronger vagina. It's not about having the biggest orgasm. It's not about getting off your head, but it's actually getting back into your body. So rather than getting up and escaping, which a lot of us want to do, hey, we're being taught to do that. It's about rounding back into the physical body. So manifesting through the earth, calling in through the earth.
Yeah. And what's a really cool, simple thing that we can give everyone right now that they could connect to right now? That, what's something, could be breath work, could be whatever, what's something simple that we could have them experience this life force energy? Because, like you said, it's everywhere. Everything, wherever you see life, you see sexual energy. It's the creative force behind it all, right? So what's something really cool that they could do consciously to tune into this right now?
So you would say that it's the feminine energy, the Shakti that runs through all of us is the creative energy, yeah? So we want to tap into that, whether we're in a feminine body, whether we're in a female body, or whether we're in a masculine body. We want to tap into that Shakti. That is the cosmic, the universal life force, essentially. Then what do we do with it? So we need to feel it first. So how do we feel that? We feel it through breath. In any one moment, we have the ability for life and death. So every inhalation is inhaling life. It's inhaling energy, essentially. With every exhale, it's letting go of shit, letting go of what no longer serves us. It's essentially a death. So knowing that in any one moment to moment, but through the day, we are in the cycle of life and death. Yeah. So just tapping into breath is the most potent thing that you can do. We all do it automatically. We've spoken about this before, but just being able to watch the breath, witness the breath, feel the breath move through your body, and see what is beneath that. What do we find beneath the breath? What do we find beneath the inhalation and the exhalation? And it's the moment in between. is the stillness, and that's where we can create from.
Beautiful. There's Kelly breathing
I
away.
was just having my moment.
She went into her bliss. That's right. We lost Kelly now.
I was actively listening and participating. But I think it's funny, like we take for granted the fact that we breathe and that we don't have to think about it, and it's part of the autonomic response that this happens. But the moment, like I've noticed with what I do within my business, often I can get really busy, and I'll have these short periods where I get crazy busy, and then I've got these periods of where I'm like, off doing my nails during the day and out for a couple of hours for lunch and shopping. But in those moments where I get really busy, I notice, like when I stop and have that present moment with my breath, just how shallow I'm breathing in my lungs. And no surprise that I'm feeling anxious or stressed, because I've let the pace of the activity start to dictate my breathing and not being present to the life force moving through me, so that I can handle the greater workloads without having to have my sense of center taken on a ride with the workload. Does that make sense? And it's when you were saying that, it was making me connect, and I'm like, I don't have to change my rhythm to keep up with something else.
Yeah, it's like, are we breathing, or are we being breathed by something larger than ourselves? Yeah. And often, like you say, we're in that state of like high cortisol levels, and we're up here in our heads and we're speaking super, super fast and getting things done, but we're disconnected from our body. We're disconnected from our root chakra, our sacral chakra, our solar plexus. So we're totally up and out and not feeling. We're essentially not able to feel ourselves. And so if we can't feel ourselves in that moment, we can't possibly feel another. We can't possibly feel the surrounds of what's going on around us. So we can't connect. And if we can't connect, we can't create from that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, love it.
Curious, right? So you've been in business for many, many years. Many. We're not going to tell them exactly how many, because she looks a lot younger than she is, right? We don't want to ruin that for you.
Ladies keep their secrets.
And so ultimately, this podcast is going out to business owners, and the greatest gift is to give you guys like awesome tools and things to explore and look into, and sexual transmutation, sexual energy, like really learning more about that is such a powerful thing, to get your teeth into, guys, because you start to learn about how this universe is created, how you naturally actually create in your business, unconsciously using this. And then by understanding how this works, you can start to be more conscious and present to utilizing this energy force, to create with. Over the years in business, what would you say have been 1 to 2 fundamental big learnings for you that created a shift in your thinking, in your vibration, in the way that you do things, that you could share some cool tips, that for you guys, the intention there is, hey, if this helps you, and you take this on, you could literally quantum leap your business, because Natalie probably took years to have this shift. So what would be a couple of shifts that you had that you'd love to share with them?
Yeah, so 2 things that I wish I'd known 20 years ago. So I've been self-employed for 20 years. It's a long time, right? So I've gone through the births and the deaths of many businesses, many incarnations, in relationships. And the first thing that I didn't know when I was young and starting out is that you need to find yourself mentors and coaches and teachers that are in alignment with what you want.
Totally. And that key word too, alignment. It's not just any mentor, any teacher. They need to be in alignment with your vision, with who you are, and I love that you said that. That's really important. Yeah. So please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Find teachers that have been through rites of passage. So find teachers that have been through different business incarnations, who have been through rites of passage that we have as women and as men. Find someone who has been through failures. I think that is equally as an important learning as it is to see their successes.
Yeah.
Spy on your teachers, teachers in all aspects of their lives, not just what they're doing in their business. So super great if they're
stalk
making
them all over social media.
We can do that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so not just how they're making $1 million, but like how are they living their personal lives? What are they doing, when they're not with you on Skype? What are they doing, behind the scenes? Is that in alignment with you? Is that in alignment with your bigger vision? I think that is so, so key. Yeah. Find love elders, and we were talking about that today. Find elders. Represent where you are aspiring to. Find people that have really been through that and lived in it, and it's in their bones, and it's rich with color and history and all the sensations and all the experience of life essentially.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm gonna have to ask you more to define love elders, because I've never heard that before. It's really got my attention. Is this love elders in people?
Everyone knows about love elders.
Not me.
Yeah.
So is this like you did mention like mentor that's lived through it all? Are you talking specifically like people that have the kind of relationship that you want to have, or people at the end of the road that are living the lifestyle you want to live exactly how they're living it?
Yeah, I love that. I would say both to that. So when you talk about like intimate relationships, find people who are modeling the intimate relationship that you want. And again, who have been through rites of passage, who, hit rock bottom and have worked through their shit and can still see the divine in each other. I think that's super important. But also from a business perspective, who are your love elders that hold a space of not just a money-making business, but a heart-centered business, but also use their sexual energy consciously. So it's conscious relationships, I think is what you'd call it. So love elders are someone who have taken this idea of conscious relationship or conscious relating, not just to their intimate partner, but to the world around them. How do they consciously relate to their staff, to their peers, to the community at large? I think
if I'm hearing
really
correctly,
like it.
It's about, ensuring that your mentors, in business are actually acting from a higher place. That, how do they treat their staff? How do they treat their market? How do they treat their clients? I've had mentors in the past that delivered phenomenal teachings. However, they weren't in alignment with me because the way they treated their clients wasn't that great. All good while you're paying them money and not so nice to you once you finish up in their program and don't want to continue on their ascension model. And, having a look at, whoever's going to be mentoring you and guiding you in this life, regardless of if it's business or something else, right? But obviously we're talking about business. Be a custodian too, like who you let guide you, because your guide can either take you to all your happiness or take you to a place where you're not happy because you didn't choose that mentor, that guide, that love teacher, love elder correctly. Yeah. And I really do like that, because at the end of the day, business is relationships. It is relationships. And if your mentor is not successful in their own relationships, you've got to kind of ask yourself, well, how are you going to help me connect more to the marketplace and make a bigger impact if you don't even have the ability to have close friendships, or insert whatever. So that's a really cool distinction. I've never thought of it like that.
There was something Nat said about that I want to mention it again, because I just think it's so critical, key piece to this that I think a lot of people are missing when they're choosing mentors, is you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are first, what's important to you, the kind of person you want to show up in the marketplace as, so that when you do choose those people, when you take on the things that are like them, it's still in alignment with you. Because if you don't know who you are, you can end up so far left of center before you even know it and be like, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah, which means, it's not just about results too. It's not about, that person's got a Ferrari. Great. For all you know, it's not even his. You could have borrowed it or rented it to take that photo on social media. But it's actually like really getting that it's so much deeper, and I love what you're saying. It's so much deeper than just the surface level. Yeah, of course, they need to have runs on the board. Yet it's also, like you said, stalking them and making sure that this person really is in alignment, but you've got to know yourself first. And the key indicator, do the work on really identifying what your truth is, what you stand for, and making sure that you build your business on your terms, with injecting your own unique essence into it. Yeah. Super awesome. Natalie, that's actually really cool. I never thought just that different window of looking at it of, like how do you behave in relationships? How are your relationships? How are you interacting in relationships? Because if you're not doing a great job in those areas, well, you're not going to be a great mentor, because I'm going to end up, I might have the money, but my relationships are going to blow. And we all know that relationships is what actually makes our life wonderful or not. Yeah. It's not nice to succeed on your own. You've got no one to share it with, no one to amplify, the joy and the bliss of it, and I love that. Really, really cool.
And businesses are built on relationship. We cannot do business in isolation.
No.
So it's so key. So it's not just for how you operate in your personal relationships, but how do you relate to your staff? And we're not talking about the end goal of how did you make $1 million or how did you get that Ferrari, but how did your path take you along the way?
Yeah.
You know, what is your process along the way?
Yeah.
How did you get to where you're going? What kind of car did you decide to drive? Because we don't know where we're going, right? At the end of the day, we were talking about this today. We don't know what the end game is.
We've got a vision, right?
We don't know what's going to take us out at the end of the day. We have no idea. That is the beauty of living. That is the joy and the excitement of not really knowing, right? That's what keeps us alive. If we knew, we'd just be dead, right? If we knew what the end game was, we'd kind of give up because there's no desire, and we need that desire to propel us forward. But it's how we move forward in that desire. So it's how we choose to, like, what we choose to take us there, or what are the tools, who are the people we surround ourselves with as we go on our path to.
Yeah. I mean, I heard from one of the favorite things like talking about mentors or love outers that I got in terms of like choosing the right people to follow is that you ask these questions: who are you? What have you done? And did you do it gracefully? And how they answer those 3 questions gives you almost everything you need to know about whether they're going to be able to help you get the result you want in the particular area you're wanting to up level. And if the answer is no to did it gracefully, then it's a no. Because so many people, like you see this, like people have, like if you were to look at their life and the aspects of their life, like parts of it would be rocking. Like if it was a wheel on the car, it would be a really bumpy ride. Like some parts are good, some parts are sucky. But when you look at in the did you do it gracefully, you find these people are a lot more balanced in how they've done things.
Yeah. And even when you look at, like, you know, so mentors can be, people that you pay or potentially people that are close to you. You know, yet they can also be the people that you follow, their books that you read, you know, their YouTube, their podcasts, their whatever, right? And to me, like when I tune into this and when I look at, you know, really choosing a mentor from alignment, I don't follow Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, there's a reason for it. You know, Gary V's got a huge following, but in no way, shape or form do I want that man's life. He looks like he's got AIDS, and I get that's harsh, but he does not look healthy. He looks worn out. He looks like he needs a good 10-year nap, you know. And to me, like, don't get me wrong, if you are that kind of person where you can't sit still, you know, where you authentically believe in the hustle, and you feel great if you only sleep a few hours a night, go for it, right? I have a very different approach, and I think life's meant to be lived. I don't believe in working 24/7. I've got things that I want to live, you know, in as well. And I've got a mission. I do cool stuff. I also really love to have fun. I love to travel. I love to arrange some flowers for the sake of it, bake a cake, whatever. You know, like there are mentors out there that will literally tell you outsource everything and only work so you can get massive growth. Now, if that's your truth, go for it. I found that when I outsourced everything, I actually started to die. Like, I love cooking, love it. It makes me feel like it's creative. I really like it. And so cleaning, outsourcing, not a problem, right? 'Cause I'm okay with not having to clean my own toilet. It doesn't make me feel like I'm missing out in any way, shape or form. Yet when I actually attempted this whole thing of, you know, outsourcing everything so I could do more, I found my passion for my business started to drop.
Yeah. Totally. We are designed to work. Man is designed to work, and it's finding, does it give to your life force or does it take away from your life force? So if you're overriding sensations in your body, if you're overriding and you're getting tired and your nervous system is burnt out, then that is taking from the energy field, it's taking from the earth, because we're taking resources from somewhere else in order to feed ourselves. So we need to self-harness that energy, which doesn't take from anyone else. We're essentially harnessing that energy throughout us, and that's what sexual energy is. When you learn to cultivate that, then you can use that sexual energy to drive all areas of your life.
To me, it's like creative energy, you know, like cooking actually tunes me into this. Arranging flowers, you know, tunes me into this. Is it a waste of my time, like considering how much I get paid per hour? Well, yeah, it's probably a very expensive meal and a very expensive flower arrangement. But if it's what's true, right? Like, you know, but I'm not selling the damn things. I'm not trying to get people to buy my flower arrangements. price points, it's just something that actually connects me to this energy that Natalie's talking about.
Yeah.
It's this is my version of success. My version of success is that I actually feel amazing and enjoy the process, and I'm doing it in alignment with myself. And hence, like I said, Gary Vee, not the right mentor for me because I can't see the man arranging flowers, right? And just his message of his goal is to be the hardest working man on the planet. I've seen him in an interview, like, compete with the person interviewing him, saying, no, I work harder than you. And they're like, no, I work harder than you. And I'm going, delete, mute.
You guys
stop.
can have it.
You guys go for it. You work as hard as you like. I'm going to go to the beach and make a sandcastle now because it's fun.
Yeah. Now, I've got a question for you. In terms of sexual energy, is this something that we can overuse, or do we have an infinite supply of it, or how does it work?
I love this question. We have an infinite supply if we use it consciously, is the short answer.
And how do we do that?
I'll reframe that in another way. So if we use orgasmic energy, for example, that's what we're talking about essentially. Yeah. So we're talking about the orgasm, like the big O, but we're talking about the Big Bang Theory, that created the universe, if it's your belief. If we use it consciously and direct it, then it should theoretically add to our life force. If we scatter that energy into a million different pieces, so what that would look like is like, scattering our creative energy everywhere, then we don't have enough for ourselves. And so we tire our system out. We tire our nervous system, if you like. Essentially, we're just a bundle of nerves. And if you stand on your nervous system and then you take your foot off, there's still a bit of out to it. So there's a whole lot of repair that has to go into work. Mm-hmm. But if you utilize that sexual energy to create more energy, it's like a cog that keeps turning. So the more you create, the more you create, the more you create. So it's an endless potential. It's an endless possibility of spiraling up or creating a field of resonance. But if you do scatter that energy by excessively spending or excessive anything, essentially, excessive anything, excessive sex, if you like.
Yeah, so you're saying it's kind of like, just so that I can understand, because there's been times where, are you saying it's best to use this energy when you've got maybe 3 or 4 things that you're actually focusing on and directing it into these 3 or 4 things to completion, and then letting the next lot come up? Or are you saying you can have lots of different things happening with it?
So there's a couple of ways I could answer that. So I guess as the feminine, we all have masculine and feminine in us. The feminine can endless create. We design the feminine in us and also masculine is the ability to create endlessly. We have life and death in our hands at any one moment, the potential for life and death, the inhalation life, the exhalation death, the birth of a child, the letting go of blood. So we are always in this cycle of creation and death. But how do we direct the creative energy? So I guess you're asking, like, can we put it into a million different projects? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, kind of like, because in business, it's really easy. Like, sometimes I find that I've got all this creative flow. I'm like, this idea, that idea, this idea, that idea. And then if I'm trying to do all of that at the same time, it's a bit where I feel like you're saying, my nervous system's being stretched out and stomped on. But I find it does. But if I let, like, where I've kind of found like it's worked best for me is where I've had it concentrated and directed it into the completion of things. And if I've had other ideas, I kind of just put them aside to, okay, complete this, then you can do that. Complete this.
Yeah, definitely. Focus is what you're saying, essentially. So focusing on, driving, it's like gathering it from, I don't know how far we're on the screen here, but, gathering all your orgasmic potential and then driving it through like a tube that can create from that. But if we're gathering and then we're trying to drive it through multiple tubes or multiple pathways, then it's going to get scattered. So it comes back to true alignment. Like, what's your true north? What are you really in alignment with your creative projects? Because we can always get kind of, sidetracked and there's that possibility or that possibility, but actually what is in true alignment? And you can only ever feel that in your body. And I think the importance of understanding what is a yes in your body and what is a no in your body is particularly important, because we don't know that. A lot of us don't understand what yes feels like. So we say yes to so many things when actually some of them were really a no.
Yeah.
So learn to feel what yes and no feels like.
Do you have any exercises to help, like if our listeners were to really start to, if they were to take this for when they're like in business, when they've got all these great grand ideas, as we do, to help them tune into what's a yes right now and what's a no? Do you have any particular exercise?
Also, can I just add before we do that, please, listening, right? Whatever your vision is in business, what you're building, what you've set out to achieve, you can call it a plan, a vision, whatever, right? That is your north. If your vision, if you've done the work on the vision, if you've really done deep work on creating a business vision that is just pure desire, rocks every fibre of your being, it feels so delicious, then the action is actually quite simple. Is that in alignment with my vision, and tuning in. I've got 10 million ideas. Which one of these is the aligned one taking me to my vision? To me, that's focus. And whatever Natalie says on top of that, would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Because if you need a north, if you don't have a north,
your poles are all over the place. So, and I would probably add to that is building sensitivity through your body. So, again, we're coming back to that same point, like what do you feel, and can you exponentially exaggerate that feeling so that you're so sensitive to your to the external impact of the world around you that you understand if that doesn't feel so good, and honoring that doesn't feel so good, and going, it's actually a no. It's actually a no, not having to have a justification for it, but it's just a no. It's a no in my body, and that is the strongest thing I think you can say as a business person, is understanding how to say no, because we want to say yes to everything because we're coming from the ego of what if I don't make $1 million, and so we're like, yes, I'll do all of that because I'm really desperate. It comes from a fear-based rather than a surrender. So there's a little bit, it's polar opposites, fearfully manifesting, or coming from a hands up, I don't know what the big picture is, let me be led by something bigger, let me be driven by something bigger than me, let it come through me, and let me understand that. And that's how you understand that yes and no. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but understanding yes and no in your body is the short version of that. And there's so many practices that you could do, and one of them is breathing, pranayama, breath work, yoga.
So you're talking about belly breathing here?
Yeah, anything that drives the breath. So a lot of our breath tends to be up here, we're super fast, but letting that breath move all the way down into your body, down into your belly, for women down into their womb, for men down into their genitals, so down into their sex center, and down to the earth, and then feeling that breath come up again. So just feeling into that. And it's so simple. I know we've all heard of this. So any practices like yoga, anything that finely tunes the body, relatively clean diet, mindfulness, and I would say mindfulness, and I call it bodyfulness, feeling it in your body, so that we're actually in our body. Most of us don't live in our body for a fair percentage of the day. I
like that. That's really cool. So awesome, humans. Next time you're looking at a crazy ideas list, tune into your north. What's the vision? Do the breath work. Breathe into your sexual part. And for men, breathe into your genitals. For women, breathe into your womb. Breathe in. So taking that energy, that breath all the way down and out until you connect. You feel connected to the wisdom within you, and then tune in. What one of these ideas would actually be the one that truly is the one to take, and trust your body, trust that intuition, trust that that gut feeling. And if you feel like yes, if it's a no, honor it.
And I think action matters. That was the second point I was going to make, is that when you get this yes in your body, then you must move forward with it. It's your God-given life to live, is to move forward, not to just stand in one spot. We're non-linear creatures, so we're constantly birthing and dying, and it's like a sine wave of up and down, and understanding that no path in business is going to be direct. A doesn't equal B. It's there's many curves, and
we're all individuals.
Absolutely, there's many curves in between, many spirals in between, but keep moving. Allow yourself to have that your own journey in it. Super cool. Out of curiosity, if you were to go back in time, to in the first few years of business for yourself, and you could give that version of you some wisdom, some insights that you collected over the years. Obviously we've already shared one of the biggest learnings of having mentors, having people that have been where I want to go, that are in alignment to me,
and actually chatting with them and utilizing their intelligence. So if you could mentor your past self, what would be the advice, the guidance, the gift you'd want to give past you?
I love that. Have a plan. So have a plan. Have a north plan. Sail into the wind. Be prepared for the wind to change you in directions. Be prepared to rip up that plan and rewrite it.
That's awesome.
Not just once, many, many times.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the bigger picture is. So, you have a plan and be prepared to surrender to something else.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny, like even when clients come to me now and say, look, I'd really like you to help me create a business plan, I say, no, I don't do that. And so we can create a map. Yeah, but I don't believe in plans because everything's changing so fast in our world that your plan won't even be relevant in a year's time with technology advancements, with all the stuff going on. Have a map. Yeah. X marks the North Star, X marks the spot, and here's a map, and let yourself be a little bit more flexible with cool stuff coming in as opposed to super controlled. And, yes, it's like having a plan that's actually on a map and having the ability to rip the plans up from each checkpoint and not be so fixed on them, because I've seen business owners do it where they're like, oh, I'm behind on my plan, oh, this isn't working, and they're so stuck in their head, without actually going, well, there's probably a reason it's not working. Your plan might suck, and let's maybe not be so attached to it. That's a brilliant, no one's actually given that advice their past self on the show yet.
No, I really like it.
I love your reframe on that. And I think we were talking before about follow your bliss, like follow what brings you joy and lean into your edges. So they seem like a paradox, but yes, follow something that truly makes you feel like you want to sing, but also feel into your resistances and just feel if you can just stretch yourself a little bit further than that, without causing trauma, but just lean into what is there, lean into what the possibility might be, and that's where the juice lies on, beyond that, so that you're not selling yourself out just for this path of bliss that kind of takes you nowhere, because you could just end up sleeping on a rock on a park bench with no money. So you must work with both of those opposing forces at any one time. So you must know that you must feel what it feels like in your body to follow that, but also know that sometimes you just have to stretch, and that weaves that, that's Tantra, it's the weave of life essentially, coming in and coming back on itself all the time. Resistance and joy, and joy.
It's beautiful. Natalie and I were talking about this. We're literally, like, Natalie's about to speak at the next First Class Mastermind, and we're doing this whole deep dive on tuning into sexual energy, really creating the connection with it, learning how to live. Oh, it's going to be so freaking fun. And as we planned it all out, right, we were talking about, what does it really mean, to live this amazing life? Because some people will tell you follow your bliss, and other people will tell you step outside your comfort zone, right? And they're, like you said, they're totally different messages. Yeah. One's true, they both are. And I love this because it's this dance between listening within, following your truth, having your business brand and your message and all of it, be your bliss. And yet at the same time, in growing to the next level of business, there's going to be times you're going to be stretched. There's going to be times it's not blissful to learn something you haven't, like, it's not blissful to build that part of the business, to systemize, to whatever, right? It's that beautiful dance. And then when Natalie told me that's what Tantra is, it's this. It's both of, it's all of it. I really like that, and I think it's so important, and I'm sure there's a few of you right now sitting there going, oh, that makes so much more sense. Following my bliss has actually taken me to dumb areas, I've done dumb shit following my bliss, and stepping outside my comfort zone too much has actually fried me because I went into my panic zone. It's that beautiful dance between both, tuning in. And so would you kind of say following your bliss is feminine and stepping outside your comfort zone is masculine?
Absolutely. I was thinking it's the dance of a woman, the feminine, fully in that spiral, that creation that is wild, that goes all over the place, like you said, like creating this idea and like gathering all of those, and then it's kind of the masculine pole to just be there in consciousness and witness as we do that dance. And of course we have both of that in us. So, we are both masculine and feminine at any one time. So it's how do you cultivate that within yourself, how do you have that brain integration? So when we're talking about left and right brain integration, because particularly in the business world for women, there's a lot about, well, you're too and you're masculine and you
we're talking about
that. Well, we wouldn't get shit done, right?
No.
Like,
yeah.
We
would just talk about ideas all day long and feel great.
And then we have guilt and shame around like being too much in our masculine, but like I shouldn't swear, but you know,
you can.
Yeah, you
I
can.
would. But fuck that, like nothing gets done.
Yeah.
You don't feed kids, you don't have a business, like nothing gets done in the world. So we need both sides. We need to integrate both those sides, and we'll definitely be talking about that at the mastermind.
Yeah,
We're talking about brain integration, masculine, feminine polarity, how we utilize them within ourselves for growth and creation.
Yeah.
Massive, you know,
Exciting.
and such a gift because, like I said, Cal, you'd be the same. You know, those messages don't usually come boxed together.
They don't. And sometimes, like what I found with like following my bliss, sometimes my bliss leads to my chaos. Like my bliss will take me to the edge of my comfort zone, and then it's like the chaos comes, but it's a constant growth. And then there's like this beautiful resting period where the bliss comes back, and I'm skipping through the meadows, and everything's great, and then boom, chaos. Like time to grow again, and then back to bliss.
Yep. And if you're not consciously stepping outside your comfort zone, if you're not consciously, heading towards your North Star, using your plan that you sometimes rip up and recreate, but you've got a map, so you're kind of all right.
Yeah, you're trusting something else that's flowing through you.
The North Star is your bliss, right? The growth and the stepping outside your comfort zone is the journey, but they're both happening at the same time. And I think it's like in a big picture sense. Would you agree with that? Yeah. And it's getting that, because too much of one or the other can actually have you end in a bit of chaos as well. Too much action without really honoring your bliss and honoring your truth could have you build something that sucks.
Or lead to burnout.
Burn out and have it's all good and great. I've got a business that gives me money, but I hate it. I don't call that success.
No.
To me, success is fulfillment. To me, success is having it all.
Yeah, it's pleasure.
And so love that, Natalie. What a beautiful message to give to your younger self. Ladies and gentlemen tuning in, how cool is Natalie? Honestly, if you'd love to spend more time with her, go to nataliebondine.com.au.
Yes.
And so it's nataliebondine.com.au, right? And obviously we'll have Natalie's name up. We'll have links for her website for you through the show. Otherwise, it's just nataliebondine.com.au. Nailed it. Did I just nail that?
Oh,
you did.
Good job, forever.
And honestly, follow this lady on Instagram. Follow her on Facebook. She puts out beautiful stuff. She gives a lot. She's on a big mission to, help humanity really connect to this amazing force, to have the most amazing life possible, and to really be awakened in the process. Because, especially around business, the last thing you want to do is build a business that wasn't in alignment with your truth, that didn't actually have you follow your bliss, and you've done all this work and you hate the business.
Yeah, you may as well be working for somebody else.
You might, honestly.
Yeah, go get a full-time job. You'll have more fun.
Yeah.
So thank you.
My
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Kel.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.